Soundstripe.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to My Spouse is My Best Friend. I am your co-host, Nicole.
I am Dr. Green.
And we want to welcome you here tonight to talk about, again, another one of my favorite subjects. And that subject is
Intimacy
Yay.
with my best friend.
I'm with my best friend.
Oh, does the church say so?
Yeah. I'm glad we're sitting in the right spot because that would be a little awkward.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we're going to talk about intimacy, one of my favorite subjects as well this evening. We're going to talk about intimacy through emotional intimacy, through friendship. We're talking about physical intimacy. We'll be talking about intimacy through experiences and adventure. We talk about intimacy through communicating your desires as well. As I said, this is one of our favorite subjects. A lot of people think intimacy is just at the physical level, just sex, right? But that's not going to get you through your marriage because marriage is a long road. And that kind of goes away after a while.
No.
You go from every day to once a week to twice a week, then to once a month. But you have your roller coaster. So we're going to talk about some other ways that you can revive your relationship with your spouse through intimacy through other ways than just humping around. So let's get to it.
Yeah, I promise he won't do that again for the rest of the day.
Maybe. All right, first one.
Yep. So we want to talk about emotional intimacy through friendship. And I think that is kind of the number one denominator here is your friendship in creating that safe space within a marriage. Because, fellas, as your wives, we are emotional creatures. I know that you all know that, right?
Yes, very.
And so you got to get in our heads to get in our beds. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think so?
I think so.
Okay. So again, creating that safe space where we are talking, we're communicating, which we'll talk about a little later, but building that foundation of friendship, creating those safe spaces where your wife is comfortable with you is number one. And I think that's a big component of intimacy.
And then I think some ways to do that is checking in with your wife on how she feels on a love level. What does her love meter look like? Sometimes we'll ask each other and we'll say, "Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, what does your love meter look like? Or is your tank full?" Is what we use. Yep. And sometimes she'll say, "Oh, it's full." Usually that's after physical intimacy. And sometimes I'll just play out. And sometimes she'll say, it's halfway full, and then I have to ask her, so what can I do to make it full? So checking in and creating that safe space, and knowing where your wife is, I think is very important in the relationship. And then also supporting each other in your love languages is also a good one. And sharing your joys and your wins throughout the day, and doing small acts throughout the day to let her know, or let your spouse know that y'all are still connected in some kind of way. And that could be through touch. I mean, every once in a while, like she's watching this, go around and grab a boot, or come up behind her and kiss her, and kiss her on the neck, give her chills up her spine, or just checking in with her to let her know that connection, and you're still available for her are some good ones as well.
Yeah, and I would say that's a component of what I call feeding the meter. So when that tank is low, check out what your spouse, again, talk to your spouse. What is her love language? Build on that. So if her love language is if physical touch is at the bottom of her love language, then you got to do some work. So you got to figure out what that love language is. And so for me, my love language is quality time. And so he knows to feed the meter, you got to spend some time with me with undivided attention, which is a little hard, but he does. And so again, find out what your wife's love language is, and that's how you feed that meter, is doing stuff that she appreciates and then that she desires.
Yeah, I agree. They just can't jump into bed. Not gonna turn out well. No. So I think that's a great analogy as far as feeding the meter.
Because I think she'll already be in the bed with her bonnet on if you wait to the last minute. So.
Bonnet, 2 sheets. We talked about the 2 sheets last and heated blankets. You ain't getting through the fortress. So you might want to feed the meter throughout the day. And that leads us into physical intimacy. I think, everyone, this is what everybody thinks it is in the first place. So let's talk about that. Physical intimacy is exactly what it is. Touching and feeling and making love to your honey, getting in the bed, and wrestling around in the sheets. And that's physical intimacy. And I think that's important because it gives you that physical connection. We all know that. And that's through, touching and feeling close, making it a priority, making love. And making love is just not the act of. This kind of goes back into what we're talking about throughout the day and feeding the meter. Making love is you can make love to your wife all day long. You can make it, exciting and lead up to it. Like I said, just touching in her and feeling her and just revving her up until that moment at night, she's already just ready to go. And just really just showing her love throughout the day. So she's in the mood. Is a great way to get there, fellas. I'm giving you some good tips here.
Yeah. Yeah, and if her love language is acts of service, wash the dishes, cook dinner, do things for her that she would typically do. That way she can rest and relax. Again, that's that starting with the emotional and the mental intimacy and getting into the physical intimacy.
Yeah. And I'm going to share something very candid with you that came to a realization about 2 weeks ago with us. About 3 weeks ago. I made a comment to her. I said, seems like every Friday we're making love or we're doing what we do. I'm like, it feels like it's planned. And in my mind, I was thinking, is this just something, every Friday she knows, okay, let's go ahead and get it over with for the week, and then move on. And that's how I kind of feel it. I felt like it was scheduled and it wasn't something spontaneous. And so I made that comment to her and we didn't talk about it. I didn't know she felt some kind of way. That was communication. So we had a breakdown of communication. Mm-hmm. And then on the following, on one of our Wine Nine Wednesdays, the following one, she said, "Hey Jay, when you made that comment about Fridays, that kind of hurt me." I said, "Why?" I said, "I'm just telling you how I felt." And she said, "Well, the reason why I said that is because during the week, I'm going to work and we have all this hustling, bustling, and I'm tired. And by the time we get to bed, it's just, my mind is racing, and I just I don't feel comfortable. Not comfortable with me, not comfortable with being intimate with me, but just
sister tired.
Sister tired throughout the day." And I was like, why didn't you say that? I would have understood that because I didn't we were looking at two different lenses. Yeah. And had she said that, bring it back to communication, I would have said, oh, well, that makes sense. Basically, Friday, the weekend's coming up. Mm-hmm. You're loosey juicy, and you're ready to go, and she's in the mindset and not thinking about the next day. So just bring it back to the communication thing. You got to be, communicate those desires and what's really going on in your head, so y'all be on the same page. Because I was on a totally different page. I'm wondering why we're scheduling on Fridays. Why it just happens to be on Fridays, and she is like, no, that's not what it is, and communicate that. Yeah. So, but we got through that. So just communicate your what gets you going. What I'm trying to say.
Communicate by, which we'll talk about later on, is prioritizing your needs and desires.
There you go.
And so I just want to communicate tomorrow's Friday.
So silly. Oh God. All right. So
did I throw you off a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You did.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, another thing is, I'll be open and honest with you. She's more frenzy or finicky at night. I'm more
in the
morning.
Yeah.
She's not a morning person.
No.
She's a night person.
Yeah.
So we had to get through that too. So we had to compromise on those desires because, in the morning my testosterone's going. I'm ready to go. I got well rested. And boy, but her, she's groggy.
Yeah.
Waking up.
Yeah.
Totally on the total polar opposite. And at night, I'm tired. I'm just like, oh. And I have to get the energy. So we had to work through that as well.
Yeah.
So again, communicate, compromise, and then, like I said, use some of the tools that we talked about leading up through feeding the meter and understanding each other's desires and wants. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yep. And let's talk about it now because we keep talking about it. So I think again, what's most important about creating that safe space is having a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
So as you're talking to each other, are you talking about your desires? Are you talking about your wants and your needs? There shouldn't be any judgment because we're in this together. Some things we suggest is going to work. Some things that we suggest won't work, and so you have to be flexible in that area and just go with it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, marriage is a long road, and you gotta fulfill every desire and need, and because most relationships, when a man steps out, it's usually because they have a desire and need that their wife is not fulfilling.
Yeah.
I think that. I mean, I can't speak for you or for women, but I think that's one of the reasons as well, because your desires and needs are not being fulfilled at home. If you don't know those desires, how can you fulfill them, right?
Yeah.
So you have to talk about that. You have to fulfill those. You have to try different things. We've tried rolling dice with different things. Like one dice says lips and the other one says kiss. One dice says lick and the other one says, and we tried those. We tried cards. We tried soda. I mean, we tried a lot just to
keep it fresh.
To keep it fresh. And some of those things work, and some of them don't.
Get tired of licking ankles.
Oh Lord. And then don't be afraid to tell your spouse what you want in the bed, and fulfilling those needs. I mean, by God, if she wants a fireman come through her window, oiled up, by golly, you better go get a fireman suit, get some baby oil and an axe, and come through the window and be like, baby. Or if you want a French maid, ladies, go get your French maid uniform and your little dust mopper with some red bottom heels and come in there and say, baby. I mean, just fulfill those desires so there's no need to go anywhere else.
But the caveat to that is when you talk about those things, let's not talk about them inside the bedroom.
Yeah.
Let's choose another time, another space outside. So don't wait till you get in the bed butt naked and then you want to try something that you saw online. Let's not choose that time to do that. So if you do find something and you want to try it or experiment with, talk about it outside the bedroom ahead of time, so you both, again, no judgment, but you're both comfortable with the decision to go ahead and try it.
Yeah, and ladies and fellas, it gets real, and be real with it. Yeah. I mean, be like, hey, let's try this position the next time. Let's see if we can get that one. Some of them don't work because we old.
Just remember, we old and we're not as flexible as we used to be. Just keep that in mind.
But I mean, just stuff like that. But like she said, it's not inside the bedroom. Don't get in the bed and be like, oh, let's try this. But talk about it. Get to know each other's needs and desires so you can fulfill those, and there won't be any reason to go looking for that anywhere else.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So we skipped the other one. The other one was intimacy through experiences and adventures.
Yep.
So how do we do that?
Yeah. So I think that one thing that we started doing, or we've done in the past, that we kind of tapered off and then we come back and do as a rotation, is we cook together. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of firsts together. So concerts, amusement parks, arts festivals. So there's a lot of things that we do that neither one of us has done before, or mundane things that we do on a daily basis. We do it together. So folding clothes, like I said, cooking. We cook and sip wine, and I'll put Miles Davis on, and we'll cook a meal together, and we'll sit down and have a meal. And so again, that's building intimacy in a marriage.
I mean, heck, we come on Saturdays. Sometimes I come in from wherever I'm doing, washing my car, and she has the music blaring and cleaning, and then I'll start cleaning with her, and then all of a sudden we're dancing in the middle of the carpet or something like that. But it's spending that time and creating moments and experiences for the intimacy too.
Yeah.
Again, this is not all physical. It's just really building, memories throughout your marriage. Because, like I said, sex is not going to get you through your whole marriage. It's just not going to happen. So you have to have different ways and outlets to feel close, to feel loved, to feel desired, and everything else. We think some of the ways that you can do that. These are some of the ways that we use to keep our relationship fresh in all those areas as well.
Yep.
So I think this was a good session today.
I think so too.
This is one of our favorite ones. But share some of your ideas on our Facebook. Yeah. Please share this post, like and subscribe, please. And then we'll be back next week. And thank you for.
And don't forget to check out our website, My Spouse, My Best Friend, where you can find some lovely t-shirts, mugs, and
we have t-shirts, we have mugs, and be right back.
Keep going. Just come back.
We have mugs on there with our emblems and stuff like that. But just go on our website. It's My Spouse, My Best Friends. You can find mugs, t-shirts, and anything else that we have on there to purchase and be with your honey.
Yep. And I guess you let the cat back. Don't call us on Friday nights. Now you see why we're not responding when you call. We love you, but we're busy. So we'll call you back Saturday morning.
Bye, girl. Thank y'all.
Bye.